Hi everybody, welcome to the 4 to 5 Full House today. Eric, Chad, Monique, and Lauren.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching us on News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and we're also on the News 2 app.
Coming up this half hour, we're going to be talking about a NASA mission. You probably saw this yesterday to crash a spacecraft into an asteroid. You only see it on movies, but now it is reality. And we're going to get a closer look at the details of that coming up in just a couple minutes.
Some interesting stuff, but for now, let's get to our top story. The first major hurricane of the season heading for the U.S. Right now, Floridians are preparing for Hurricane Ian.
It is a free-for-all at the grocery store and on the roads as people stock up or head north. People of all ages are pitching in to help, including Thomas Graziano Jr., who's getting ready for his first hurricane.
Is that pretty heavy for you?
No, it's okay.
It's not that heavy?
Not really. He's a little nervous.
And he isn't the only one. Right now we have a live look at Key West where several counties are under a state of emergency. You can actually see that the winds are so strong that our camera here is actually frozen. The storm passed west of the lower Keys this morning, heading towards Tampa.
A Greensboro man with a family in Florida talked to WFMY News 2's Hunter Funk and really just kind of explained how this is a nerve-wracking situation.
Yeah, Travis Kennedy grew up in Florida. He's in Greensboro now, but he's still got family there in Florida. He says while they're used to hurricanes, there's still reason for concern.
The last hurricane, Hurricane Irma, that came through, there was a lot of damage, at least on our, my family as well. I mean, we had a lot of trees broken down. Part of our roof collapsed. I mean, there was a lot going on there. So definitely I'm worried for sure. But, I'm just hoping for the best.
Kennedy says his mom and dad live in Jacksonville. They aren't expecting to get hit as hard, but his parents are preparing their generators, buying food, and preparing for the worst. He says it can be nerve-wracking knowing they are staying home when the storm is expected to hit. Now, as for Kennedy's brother and sister-in-law, they live in Tampa Bay. He says the two are in California right now, which has him feeling relieved that they will be safe, but his brother's home is expected to take a direct hit. He worries they, along with hundreds of others, could lose everything.
Just making sure, if there is damage, just kind of keeping it controlled. And obviously every other family out there, I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of damage for sure. It's just hoping everyone's okay, hoping everyone can stay safe and, avoid the real, tragedies.
And Kennedy has other family also in Orlando, and he plans to stay in touch with them the whole time during the event.
Hunter, this is pretty wild, pretty scary. How is the family feeling? Like, what else did they tell you today?
Oh my goodness, they are nervous. The one thing that really caught me off guard, the brother and sister-in-law, they're on their honeymoon right now. Yeah, so they're kind of dealing with the emotions of that. They tried to prepare right before they left, but there was only so much they could do because they only knew so much. So they're trying to get ready there. And we actually hear from the dad coming up at 5 about how he's a little bit nervous and how he's trying to prepare too.
All right, looking forward to it. Thank you, Hunter. All right, let's check in with Monique now. Monique, before we know it, we'll start feeling some of the effects here.
Yeah, certainly. And looking at the image currently of Ian, it makes me uncomfortable as a meteorologist because this image that you're seeing here on a satellite is what we use as meteorologists as a textbook example as we're trying to learn about hurricanes, because we see the symmetry here. We see the well-defined eye, and that shows that Ian is a powerful storm. It is currently a Category 3 with wind speeds of 120 miles per hour, but that's only a few miles per hour away from a Category 4. We've been getting hour by hour new details, and the one thing that keeps staying the same that I don't like is the speed that it's moving at. It is merely crawling at 10 miles per hour as it barrels in closer and closer to the Florida Peninsula. Just want to zoom in a little bit closer so you guys can see that eye. These storms that surround this eye are called the eye wall, and they're very strong. This system is expected to continue to pull towards the north and kind of take an eastward curve, making landfall between Wednesday and Thursday time frame. Now, models consistently have been showing this landfall around the Tampa area, but the exact landfall location is still up in the air. Now, one thing that has consistently been shown as one of the major effects with Ian will be the storm surge all along the west coast of Florida. Now, that's something that's kind of confusing and hard to understand, so our chief meteorologist meteorologist Tim Buckley breaks it down a little bit for us today.
To refresh your knowledge, storm surge is quite literally a surge of water being pushed ashore by the force of a storm's wind. In many cases, the surge is more dangerous because of the power of the moving water and the coastal flooding potential it brings. 1 to 3 feet of water can knock you off your feet and stall your car. Above 3 feet, that water can actually carry your car away. If you're still home when the water gets up to 6 feet, you and your family would have to seek higher ground, like a second story or a roof. A 12-foot surge would fill the entire first floor of most homes and potentially knock your home off its foundation. So it's important to listen for and to understand those storm surge warnings so you can react early and quickly to keep you and your family safe.
The potential for lots of wind and rain has organizers for the Carolina Classic Fair on their toes. It's supposed to start in 2 days.
Of course, we're paying a close attention to the forecast. You know, the fair's been around for a long time, and we've seen everything you could possibly imagine as far as weather come through. It's unpredictable, but we're always used to making adjustments on the fly to make sure that the fair is as safe as possible for the public while they can also have a good time as well.
Organizers say the fair will not close regardless of rain or wind. There are several indoor attractions if the weather becomes a problem. They're also prepared to shut down rides if necessary.
Most Triad High School games scheduled for Friday are now Thursday night. The changes are in response to Hurricane Ian concerns. For a full list of those adjustments, look on the sports homepage of the WFMYnews2.com website. Most of the games are in the running to become our Friday football game of the week. If a rescheduled game wins, we'll cover it Thursday. You've got just one more day to cast your vote. Polling closes at 5 p.m. tomorrow.
And you will want to be weather aware over the coming days. The best way to do that is with the News 2 app. You will be the first to know of any weather alerts.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Right now, a man is dead and another is hurt following a shooting in High Point. Police responded to North Point, a 68 apartment on Emily Loop last night around 10. Officers say a 28-year-old man was with a gunshot injuries died at the scene. Moments later, officers say another man showed up at a hospital with injuries. Upon investigation, police learned the both victims were shot during the same incident. Officers haven't released suspect details. If you know anything about this crime, call police. High Point police are also investigating after they found a man and several dogs inside of a house. Officers were called to assist EMS last night on Amos Street. Inside, they found the body of 39-year-old Robert Baker and the animals in the state of decomposition. Investigators believe Baker had been dead for days. Right now, they're treating the case as a homicide and expect to have autopsy results pretty soon. Community members, they are concerned about violence and school safety. They have the opportunity to make their voices heard. A High Point community group is holding a town hall tonight. The meeting begins at 6:30 at the Macedonia Family Resource Center.
All right, Monique, boy, you and your weather team have your work cut out for you over the next couple of days, knowing that this storm is approaching and kind of quickly right now.
Yeah, so Ian's story has been pretty consistent that it's veering up along that west coast of Africa and Florida, and then continuing to move further northward towards the south and east. Now, as it does that, our weather conditions will change. This beautiful view that you're seeing in Winston-Salem will change with a little bit more clouds, and then the rain story starts thereafter. So 72 is the current temperature in Winston-Salem with plenty of sunshine. The current conditions all across the Triad are in the 70s, 72 in Winston-Salem, 74 in Burlington, 75 in Siler City. A cool day for the midweek as we start to get towards it. We're going to see more 70s in the forecast tonight, though. It's going to be cold. Temperatures will crash into the 40s. Everyone getting into the 40s for tonight. 47 in Greensboro, 48 in High Point. It's going to be a cold start to your Wednesday, feeling like fall for sure. Now, after that, that's when things change and that's when the EM impacts begin. So let's look at the futurecast. Your Tuesday is staying dry for tonight. Your Wednesday dry, but notice how we're starting to get some clouds pushing in. Clouds will be the early part of the forecast. Continuing through the end of the week, we still get clouds, but then we start to get the increase in winds. These winds coming out of the north, though, keeping it rather cool. So it's going to be windy and cloudy and cool on Thursday. Then as we get to Friday, well, you see that rain? It's starting to move in. I'll talk more about the rain totals that we're expecting coming up.
You know, we've all heard the story, of course, of the sit-in movement that started right here in Greensboro, but I bet you didn't know the story of the Bennett Bells that played a huge role in all of this. Well, there's a new play at Triad Stage called The Bells of History, and it's coming out this weekend. It stars two people from North Carolina that are actors, and the play was written by someone from our state as well. I had a chance to catch up and talk to the actors about the whole experience. So Donald, this is pretty cool. I mean, not only will people locally be able to kind of relate to this, but this is a North Carolina production, right? Tell me about that.
Right. Mike Wiley, who was from North Carolina, spent a lot of his time here as a child. I don't know, for me, I get goosebumps because I don't get a chance to tell stories about where I come from a lot and have the playwright be someone who was from here and experience the things that I experienced growing up. So it just means a lot.
And basic plot for this, tell us about the play itself.
Okay, so it's actually from Alberta's point of view. Alberta, who is a Bennett student, and it really revolves around Alberta and three of her very best friends, and it's about the sit-ins and how the Bennett Bells were so instrumental in the sit-ins. And I never really got a chance to hear things like that when I was younger. You hear about A&T's involvement and with February 1st and the museum and everything, but we never really hear about the Bennett Bells. So it's a really, really interesting story, and it's something that I'm really looking forward to.
And you're from Greensboro?
From Greensboro, North Carolina.
Very good. Lots of local ties here.
Yeah.
So Jordan, you're also from North Carolina. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Durham, North Carolina originally.
And you went to A&T, right?
Yeah, I just graduated in 2022.
Oh, look at you already out in the working world. All right, let's talk about this play. So this is, this is a big play that means a lot to people locally, but what about you? What do you want people to take away from this?
I think it's so important to know about like the role women played in the civil rights movement. We don't really hear about, like Don said earlier, we don't really hear about the Bennett Bells and the role that women played in that time frame. So it's really important to me to be able to represent these women whose stories do not get told very often. So it means so much to me. Like I'm honestly just baffled and just so excited.
You feel honored, it sounds like.
Yeah,
to
I feel
this.
very honored.
This is very cool. Very cool. Well, this sounds great. We can't wait to see it. This is going to be fun. Now you know what you need to go see pretty soon here at Tri-State. Pretty soon, as in now, basically. So this weekend is going to be the big deal. It was interesting to talk to them because, Donald, that actor, Donald Elise Watkins is his name, and he's from Greensboro. And the fact that he said, I get to be in my hometown, because he's done some big things. He's done did the Underground Railroad project, he was in that. And he says, I get to come home and tell a story that's about home that not many people know. And it's written by a North Carolinian as well.
That's what makes art so beautiful, because I feel like mediums like theater and music, they're supposed to educate and spread awareness. So I feel like whenever I see like a movie or a film about a topic I wasn't too familiar with, it pushes me to do more research beyond that, because I wasn't familiar with the Bennett Bells.
So, and one quick note here, it's fiction based on fact, right?
Okay.
So there are part of it that's true, and then they embellish it a little bit because they don't have all the information.
You got to tell the story about Manning, kind of fanboying on this guy.
Yeah, so you've seen Manning Franks as our movie critic here, but he's also a heck of a videographer and editor, and he works with me on these things all the time. He's the one that told me what Donald was in. So after we were did the interview, we finished, he goes, wait a minute, you were in Emergency? Wasn't that the Amazon Prime? He goes, yes. And the Underground Railroad? He goes, yes. And I left, and Manning was still there talking to him. I said, okay, I'm going back to the office now, and he was just starstruck. So
that's great.
That's
Hometown
really
proud.
awesome.
It was very good. I mean, I thought it was, to hear that there's so many local ties. Triad Stage is like a semi-pro. You can have a SAG card. You don't have to be from here. They pull in actors from all over. But to have that many local ties is pretty cool.
Great stuff. I definitely would want to check that out. Well, if you haven't checked out our 4 to 5 live stream, you're missing out. We talk about things we don't discuss on the news. We're having a lot of fun over there, so make sure that you're joining us and request, and I'll let you into the group. We'll be right back.
Starting with today, I want to go over the timeline on what you can expect for the next several days. So our futurecast showing nice, dry, clear conditions for now. We're getting a few clouds that are moving in. These are those outer edges of Ian, the cloud shield. Pushing in Wednesday, we'll get a few more clouds. Take notice the temperatures barely get out of the 60s throughout the entirety of the day. We'll get more clouds on Thursday, and then also the winds start picking up. They're all out of the north though, so the temperature's still in the 60s. So each day we're getting more and more clouds, and the winds also starting to pick up. Now they're going to be breezy, upwards maybe 30, 40 miles per hour at most, but we're not talking much of a wind story as we are going to be talking about the rain. The rain pushing in as early as Thursday night, continuing throughout the day on Friday. Now this is the latest details with Ian, still not yet to make a landfall in Florida, but inching its way closer. It's roughly about 250 miles now south of Sarasota, Florida. It's moving slowly at 10 miles per hour, but here's the breakdown on what we can expect here at home. So like I said, Wednesday, increase in clouds, no rain quite yet. Thursday, winds picking up, gusts 25 miles per hour or more. The rain really comes on Friday. Friday being a cloudy, rainy, and breezy day. And then Saturday will be a breezy, rainy, and even stormy day. That's the case for Saturday. So this rain is expected to be ongoing, starting as early as Friday, continuing through Saturday, Sunday, some of that lingering into your Monday, maybe even your Tuesday. So with all of that rain, this is more of a rain story for the triad as compared to the other severe weather factors that come with hurricanes. Although we will get some strong winds at times, the rain will be much of what we're talking about all of this week and continuing through the weekend. Now it all depends on where that track aligns in terms of the actual center, how close it gets to the triad, if it's more towards the coast or not. But rain seems like that's the thing we will be talking about all weekend long. It's expected to be a cool, soggy weekend for the triad.
NASA scientists are celebrating the early success of a multi-million-dollar mission. The mission, referred to as DART, tested to see whether an asteroid threat to Earth could be stopped. It intentionally crashed a spacecraft into an asteroid. Right now, it's too early to know final results, but so far, NASA likes what it sees.
Oh my goodness.
Nearly 7 million miles from Earth, you're watching a spacecraft moving at roughly 4 miles per second, heading into a harmless asteroid.
And we have impact.
It was called DART, the Double Asteroid Redirection Test, the spacecraft slamming by design head-on into an asteroid named Dimorphos, its camera going dark, signifying impact. Astronomers around the world have shared images from their telescopes. You can see a cloud created by the high-speed collision.
And liftoff.
NASA launched DART back in November. Its mission, not seek and destroy, but seek and deflect, hit the asteroid and slightly alter its trajectory. But that difference could make a hypothetical threatening asteroid miss Earth in the future.
The threat is very real. Those asteroids are certainly out there.
In a couple months, NASA will know for sure whether the $300 million plus experiment worked. In this crash, the spacecraft lost, but with luck, planet Earth won.
Whoa.
It's hard for me to wrap my brain around so many aspects of this story. Like, how were we able to know that this asteroid was going to be in this specific spot, 100 million light years away, and we were able to control it to slam into it?
I mean, the exact trajectory
I can't.
down to, I mean, really, if you're 50 feet off with your calculations, you blew it, you know? I mean, that's amazing. But it is a reality that there are so many asteroids and space debris that miss us all the time.
Right.
And there is a group that constantly watches that.
Yeah, I was reading more about this, and it said it was about 1,000 people over the last 7 years that have been working on this exact project. So for them to get, the exact time and frame when it would hit, they had a lot of people to thank for that.
They said that this, I don't know if it's a spacecraft or whatever they call it, but it was just the size of a vending machine.
Oh, wow.
Is that it?
Yes.
With a bunch of explosives.
And to just slam it into that, they were hoping just to knock it off its trajectory just a little bit.
And when they said 4 miles per second, I'm
second.
just trying to wrap my mind around how that, I mean, that's like, you can't even see something going that fast.
That's incredible.
It's also kind of surprising to me that this was so publicized. It almost seems like something that they wouldn't have told us. That it might have been like a top secret mission, because if it failed, then maybe people are like,
the
should
end
we
of the
be
world
worried
is
about
coming or something of that nature.
I'm doing the calculations for, it's 14,400 miles per hour that thing is moving.
Whew.
That's pretty fast.
I'm glad that we got some transparency. I'm glad we were able to be there for this, because I mean, such a cool thing.
I love it. All right, we're coming
back.
back.
Happy for that team.
Yes.
Mic check, Jalen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Brad.
Hey there, Facebook, how you doing? I'm going off screen here, off grid here a little bit. You might have noticed while we were going through this half hour of the newscast, we were looking down at our iPads quite a bit. You see me over here? Hey there. So there's the reason for that. Hi, Monique. Hi. There's a reason for that. So the teleprompter has malfunctioned, and so we've got two of our top IT guys over here in this corner. You can't see them. They're working on this prompter thing over here. So Colson, tell us what's happening over here.
So the teleprompter is just not working. It's not connected to pretty much what it needs to be to get, y'all scripts that you put in there. And so we're just kind of, going through the steps.
Got it.
And they're not going.
They're not
good.
working.
They're not working at all.
What was the that first thing that you did, where you kind of you replaced something in one computer and put it in another?
So the first thing was the computer that we used for the prompter was not turning on at all, and so we went back there and switched out a couple parts. It's kind of a zombie right now, but it's working. But
It's okay.
It's work. The computer itself is working.
Got
Everything
it.
else
We're
not so
getting there.
much.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what are you doing now, Kevin?
Just trying to make this computer act.
Welcome back to the 4 to 5. The crew is all here on this Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. We got lots to talk about today. Monique's going to be talking about, of course, Ian in just a second. And also, if you were with us in our breaks, make sure you stay with our Facebook group. There's something unusual happening in our studio. We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that.
And we are working to fix that.
Yes, we are. It'll be interesting. So if you see us reading from these little iPads, you'll know why. Go to Facebook and check it out. All right, so we'll get to the forecast in a minute. Let's show you what we're talking about with Ian if you're talking about the Keys, because they've had a mess down there, as you might expect. This is Key West, by the way. That's that southernmost point in the United States, in case you visited down there. While it's not near the center of the storm, it's still getting a lot of rain and wind as a result of just the huge size of Ian. Now is not the time for folks living in Florida to be second guessing things, that's for sure. The evacuation clock is ticking at this hour.
High over the Gulf of Mexico, hurricane hunters flew into the eye of Hurricane Ian, a full 20 miles wide. Far below in Key West, people snapped photographs of powerful waves coming ashore. The outer bands of Hurricane Ian are pushing into South Florida as the storm heads north. It's currently on track to reach the Sarasota area as a major hurricane before slicing up and over the state.
Unfortunately, conditions over the southeastern Gulf of Mexico are going to be favorable for Ian to go ahead and strengthen additionally. Could see it get up to Category 4 intensity.
At least 2.5 million people are under orders to evacuate.
I think I was pretty ready when they said hurricane. Yeah, I'm not a trooper.
All along Florida's Gulf Coast, sandbags are piled up in front of homes and businesses, windows boarded up. Forecasters expect Ian will be a major water event.
Most of the forecasts have it slowing down to almost a crawl, and what that means is it's going to dump an inordinate amount of rain.
Storm surge could also be significant, up to 10 feet in the Tampa Bay area. Even in neighborhoods that are built right on the water, not everyone is leaving. They know that their homes are at 11 or 12 feet of elevation, right at the edge of what the potential storm surge could be. We caught up with the Musler family boarding up their Tampa home. They're staying because daughter Renee is scheduled to marry her fiance Weston on the beach Saturday.
Right now, we can't get a marriage license because the clerk's closed, so we got some things to juggle.
They hope the wedding will still be a go for this weekend, and the state will weather the storm. Jason Allen, CBS News, Tampa, Florida.
The North Carolina National Guard will help with Hurricane Ian preps. The Florida governor says about 2,000 troops are coming from out of state. Over the weekend, he enacted a state of emergency, and President Biden approved emergency assistance. Monique, you've been getting Ian updates every couple of hours here. This is certainly helpful to get the latest information.
Yes, in less than 30 minutes, we'll get the next update. But just me keeping an eye on the satellite image itself, you can see it's still very strong, very large. And all of these reds you're seeing on here are indications that these are very strong thunderstorms at the core of Ian. And regardless, they are going to be bringing a boatload of rainfall all across the southern peninsula of Florida. Winds at 120 miles per hour, keeping it as of now at a Category 3, but very soon, it will become a Category 4, still in line as a major hurricane. Now, even if it does or doesn't in the next update, it's still bringing life-threatening conditions to Florida and expected to continue to do so as it crawls along that west coast. close. This is the track of Ian. Take notice, this is the location of the center as of Wednesday, and then here it is by Thursday. This isn't a large distance. Ian is expected to move very slowly as it approaches its location of landfall, meaning these conditions are going to continue day after day, bringing in more rain, more water, making the water story a bigger part of this conversation related to Ian, regardless of where you're located, whether it's here in the Triad or down to the south. Water is the thing we're talking about, as the rain is going to be ongoing with this very slow moving system. Now, as of yesterday, it looked as though the rain would stick with us for mostly Saturday and Sunday and then quickly exit thereafter. But it looks as though this rain story starts for us Friday, continuing through Saturday and Sunday, as the center of the remnant low is still going to be around the Triad area on Sunday, meaning we still will get to see some rain through the day on Sunday, still through Monday, and then maybe ending thereafter. But there's still big uncertainty as to where Ian will be after Sunday. As you see that cone of uncertainty, the size of it grows, meaning the models aren't really sure where exactly Ian will be just quite yet as we get to the end of the weekend.
Monique, thank you. As she has been predicting, the hurricane won't have a huge impact here, but it'll definitely make for a wet and windy weekend. Depending on the amount of rain, it could cause issues for your roof and gutters if they're not in good shape.
Don't let them get too full of water, because the water can't flow freely, and that's what you want. That's the whole purpose of gutters, is the water getting out of them through the downspout, not over them.
The main thing is just keep an eye on your shingles, and if, like I say, any of your roof, kind of like any other maintenance you have on a vehicle, your home's the same thing.
Both companies told us they are seeing more maintenance calls right now. No surprise to hear that. We will have more of their advice coming up at 5.
Several Triad high school sports teams have made some adjustments ahead of the weekend. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey is here with what you need to know.
Yeah, Lauren, with Hurricane Ian scheduled to dump tons of rain on the Triad this Friday, a lot of our high school football games have been moved up a day. Now, junior varsity games are set to play on Thursday, have been moved to Wednesday, and the only game in the Triad that is still scheduled for Friday that hasn't been moved to Thursday is Walkertown visiting Reedsville. Now, that game is, as of now, is still set for Friday at 7 p.m. And if that's not the only change we've seen ahead of Hurricane Ian, in college football, ECU was set to take on University of South Florida down in Tampa, but that game was moved to Boca Raton due to weather. Now, if you want to check out the status of your team's game this weekend, visit our website, WFMYnews2.com. Click the sports section. There you'll find this article you see on your screen with all the updates from around your area. And one more announcement for you. This weekend's edition of Friday Football Fever has been moved from Friday night to Thursday night. It will still come on at 11:15, so make sure you join us for all your highlights and scores from around the area.
Jalen, thanks for the update. The Cone Health Women's Only 5K walk set for this weekend is postponed. Organizers made the announcement earlier today. Right now, there's no word on a new date, but we will certainly keep you posted. Again, Hurricane Ian impacts aren't expected to be major here, but you still need to be weather alert. Keep up to date by downloading our free News 2 app. You'll be the first to know about significant impacts or weather alerts.
All right, time now for your 4 to 5 roundup. First up today, the January 6th committee has postponed its hearing set for tomorrow. The 9th hearing is supposed to be the last before it releases a final report after the midterm elections. Just minutes ago, the committee tweeted that it was postponing the hearing because of Hurricane Ian bearing down on parts of Florida. It says it will announce a new date soon. One of the suspects accused in the Capitol attack was recently arrested in Greensboro. Deputies arrested Daryl Neely over the weekend. Neely was out on pretrial release but had stopped showing up to court in Washington, D.C., prompting the arrest. Neely is charged with entering the Capitol and stealing several items.
An 88-year-old Triad-made company chose its birthplace as the home of its new headquarters. Garner Foods, known for the hot sauce Texas Pete, will now operate out of downtown Winston-Salem. Executives and city leaders celebrated a ribbon-cutting event today. The new facility is located in 4th Street, right across from Salem Academy. And there's also a big career fair happening tomorrow in Greensboro that we want you to know about. The Career Center Network says more than 500 positions are up for grabs. The free event is from 10 to 2 at the DoubleTree Hotel on Westgate City Boulevard. Organizers are holding a similar event in Kernersville at the same time.
Did you like the weather today, or do you like the weather today? It feels like fall outside, and the sky, it looks gorgeous. Winston-Salem, blue skies as we look down there. Temperature is 72. That sun doing its thing, making it feel good for this afternoon. 70s all across the board. Now, as we look west, it's a little bit cooler in the 60s. Boone at 60 itself, but overall, everyone is feeling that nice fall crisp air. Tonight, temperatures will fall into the 40s. It hasn't been that cold in quite a while, so 40s is the story for tonight. A chilly start to the day tomorrow, and then by the afternoon, we won't even get out of the 60s. I mean, take notice as this Futurecast shows you the numbers. This is Wednesday morning. We're still in the upper 50s. By the afternoon, the warmest number I just saw was 68. It's going to be a cool one tomorrow, and then that cool story trend continues through the entire weekend. It doesn't get much warmer than that as temperatures stay in the 60s. The winds picking up, as mentioned earlier, on Thursday, and then staying pretty gusty at times throughout the day Thursday. The rain arriving for some folks as early as Thursday night. For most of us, we'll really see it as early as Friday morning. Now, that timeline, I showed it to you guys earlier. Wednesday, we get the increase in clouds. Thursday, the winds picking up. Friday, we get the rain, and Saturday, that rain continues with even including some storms. So that's the timeline. Each day, we get one weather factor added each day, and then by your Saturday and Sunday, we get it all. We get the winds, we get the rain, we get the clouds, and the cool temperatures. It's going to be a locked and loaded weather weekend for your Saturday and your Sunday if Ian continues on the track as it is. Continuing with this slow track, bringing more rainfall to the Triad area, with some folks upwards of almost 6 inches of rain. Now, lower amounts about 2 inches, so that ranging from 2 to 6 inches could lead to some local spots of flooding as we move through this weekend, with the rainfall forecast being as much as it is for multiple days. But we'll be keeping a close eye on Ian's track as it makes its landfall somewhere around Florida over the next couple of days. So keeping a close eye on that story. Here's a look at your 7-day.
A unique Triad school is celebrating 90 years in operation. Oh, they are celebrating big time. Summit School in Winston-Salem is one of just 2 schools in the state that specializes in dyslexia learning. It's been in operation since 1933. Starting off as a little schoolhouse on Summit Street, school enrollment just keeps growing.
Oh, I think that this is an area that has always been committed to the education of children. And as the area has grown, so has Summit. And that comes back to the notion of the next 90 years. This is an incredibly innovative and entrepreneurial community. And this school cultivates in children the capacity to be and do that. And we're proud to be part of it and grateful.
Summit School plans to commemorate the milestone by donating 900 bicycles through the Twin City Bike Collective.
How awesome is
So
that?
It's a lot. That's great.
900 bicycles. Incredible. I didn't even know that schools like this existed.
I didn't either. And I'll be honest, because I was telling Lauren that while we were listening to that principal speaking there, and I said, I didn't know that Summit did that. I knew about Summit School. It's been around forever. I did not realize that it specializes in that, which is near and dear to my heart because my 3rd oldest child has mild dyslexia, and he'll catch himself, with certain things, and you got to address that. I mean, you can totally be functioning adult and do everything you need to do. You just need to catch it early.
Yeah, and you just need to learn in a different way.
Yes.
It's not that you can't do it, it's just got to be taught differently because a lot of people actually struggle with it. I think it's like 1 in 5, and a lot of people go undiagnosed, so they keep moving on to different grades, and it's not that they can't read or what have you, it's just they have to learn it in a different way.
I was helping him with math last night. This is a perfect example of that. And I said, make sure you ask your teacher. Don't just sit there because you're embarrassed to say I don't understand how. And he said, okay, I'll do it. And so, sorry, the night before last. class. So then he told me yesterday, hey, I did what you said. I asked the teacher. She had to explain it 4 different ways. And he said, the 4th way, I got it. Now I understand it. So he has to do it that way, whatever that was.
I know someone I used to work in a market with, another reporter who said that they had dyslexia, and sometimes they would have to, read their script a couple times to be able to comprehend it. And they're great, like no one would ever know. So a lot of people really do struggle with it.
I would just love to see how they go about teaching around that, because I mean, think about it, it's got to be just such a different way of teaching.
Plus different levels of dyslexia in the same classroom.
Sure.
So those teachers are putting on different hats all the time.
90 years.
Lucky for them to get those
Yes.
bicycles. That's pretty awesome.
It's good work there. Congratulations on that. All right, we're coming back.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. Keep it first. What did you say? I do know you're having prompter issues. Yes, I'm going to read off somebody's iPad.
Okay, we're going to go get a tech check over here. Hey Facebook, we are back and we are live. His name is Kevin, and he likes to think he's in charge. Kevin, tell me what's the process right now?
The process is this computer has just decided that it just does not want to work. It thinks today is Monday.
Oh.
It's got a case of the Mondays. Oh, and they're calling me.
Okay, all right. Sorry, we had to go away. He got an important phone call from somebody who is going to be helping to get this teleprompter situation figured out. If you weren't here just a few minutes ago, I was explaining about how our teleprompter has gone down. So you can't really see it yourself, but when you look into the camera like we do, we see the words. And so that's how we read. And so now there are no words. And so we're using iPads to give us the words. So if you see, okay,
we didn't write the words, but we can't remember every single word that we wrote.
So what you see right now, this is Kevin, and he is working with the computer that is disobeying him right now.
So I just want to aggravate him and just make noises like.
And of course, you know what I said to him? You know what I said to him for a taste of his own medicine? I said, have you tried restarting it?
I know, right? That's what he says every single time when he comes to my office.
You should have seen the eye roll I got.
Control-Alt-Delete is wonderful if you want to give that a shot.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, look at all those files on there. We should delete some of those.
Defragmented your
And you just saw producer Tom walk across the way. He's preparing for another newscast that will potentially be promptless. So all right, Facebook, we'll check in a little bit.
Okay. I have your iPad, by the way.
Did you try restarting it?
All right, so when you talk shopping and sale weekends in the fall, you got Labor Day on the calendar, then you got Black Friday sales. Those are the big ones that come to mind. But wouldn't you know it, Amazon Prime is making its own shopping and sale holiday again, this time in the middle of October. So friends, they're calling it Prime Early Access Sale, and we've got that behind us so you can see. And the dates are October 11th and 12th. So this is like early Black Friday.
And don't they say it's going to be like Black Friday prices?
Is it too early?
I would only criticize it if they're not really good deals.
Okay.
Like, you can't just be exploiting this Black Friday thing and then all of a sudden it's $1 off every item. Like, it's got to be some deep
If
discounts.
it's real first of all, you can't have too many sales. I mean, let's be honest. Right. But I agree with you. It has to be the real deal, or I'm not
the real deal.
Don't give me 3%
off.
The
real deal.
Not 3% off.
So apparently, Amazon is going to have a toy listing and such, like they would for Black Friday. But that's not all. So let's show you what else they are going to do as well. So these are the 3 extras that are coming in. You can get an Echo Dot for 99 cents.
What?
When you sign up for Amazon Music. That's $8.99 a month. But if you sign up for that, you get one for 99 cents. Grubhub Plus, you get a year-long membership for free. Now, this includes the zero delivery fee for purchases over $12.
My gosh.
And then this Xbox controller can be had for under $45, which is 25% off the regular price on that. What's really crazy to me, though, is that Amazon has early sales, right? They say this is going to be called the early access sale, but they're already putting things on early sale before the early sale.
So like pre-early sale.
Earlier.
Come on.
Earlier
Come on,
sales.
is what I want to say is come on.
Come on.
All right. So if you don't already know, Prime members, it's $14.99 a month. So if you're not a member, and that's about $139 a year. But it really could be worth it, especially if you do find yourself not just ordering stuff for yourself to get home, right?
Right.
But if you send your Christmas
Yes.
and birthday and all that kind of stuff somewhere else,
I do
that
all
really
that.
does help
Yep.
on the shipping.
We're
Yep.
members.
I'm a member.
I am too. We love it.
And it's to the point now where if I have to pay for shipping for something
don't
from a
buy
different
it.
website, forget about it.
I agree.
Right, you ain't getting it.
How does this Grubhub thing work?
The what
The
thing?
Grubhub, how does it work?
1 year,
I mean,
no
to
delivery
get the
fee.
1 year, you
With
just
no-
have to be a member?
You just have to be a Prime
With-
member. So go on there and
Oh.
click that thing. I have it in my web story right now. Are ways for
I'm
you
going.
to figure out how to get that Grubhub Plus. So
right
go in
now.
there right
Me
now.
too.
Bye-bye.
That's the steal.
We'll be back.
All right, we want to make sure before we head to break that you join our 4 to 5 Facebook group. We're having a lot of fun over there. We post exclusive stories and information, so you don't want to miss out. Just click the invite button, and I'll make sure that I add you to the group. We'll be right back.
In just a couple of minutes, the National Hurricane Center will release the 5 p.m. updated details on Ian. This satellite image continues to look very impressive. We see all the main features of a strong hurricane. We have an eye wall, we have these spiral bands, and it's just an overall large system. And beneath it, we get heavy rainfall, we get strong winds. We're seeing all that with this powerful storm. Zooming in a little bit closer for you guys to see this very strong and well-defined eye wall. Now, with that 5 p.m. advisory that's coming out in just about 6 minutes, it could have a shift in this track. So that's really important to see how the next round of advisories show this cone of uncertainty, if there's any nudges to the east, if there's any nudges to the west, how this positioning of Ian is over the next couple of days. If it's a slower track, if it's a faster track, we're going to keep notice to all of those details. Be sure to tune in for your news at 5 with all that. But here is the breakdowns of the impacts we can expect starting Thursday all the way through Monday with Ian.
Microphone check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mic check, mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
She says tobacco illnesses harm communities of color more often. Taking money out of tobacco helps the trust achieve its mission.
Hey, mic check 1, 2, 3. Mic check 1, 2, 3. Mic check 1, 2, 3.
Hey, mic check 1, 2, 3, 4. Hurricane Ian packed with lightning and heavy winds and rain bearing down on the U.S.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Who do we appreciate? Oh.
Stop the rain from coming, but you can do some things to stop it from coming into your house.
Hey, it's time for my 2 cents, and today we're talking about what do you say to someone when you're not really digging what they're putting out there, but you don't want to hurt their feelings. So I had a drama coach in high school once, same kind of situation. He said he went to go see a friend of his that was in a play. He didn't think the friend was all that good, and the guy comes out, he goes, "What did you think?" And my drama coach said, he just said, "You know, of all the ways you could have done that, I would have never thought of that one." Okay, works. There's also the one-word response when someone shows you something they did. Wow. That could go totally either way. How about maybe someone's wearing something outlandish and they're like, you like my new shirt? This actually happened in college to a friend of mine. And the guy looked at him, he goes, I love the way you don't care what people think about you. And I remember the guy going, yeah, what? And then this one, in someone's house, this is a friend of mine whose mother-in-law came to visit and was noticing that it was a bit cluttered. And the mother-in-law said to him, I wish I could be as relaxed as you about picking up around the house. Whap! There you go. There are some backhanded compliments, or at least ways to say things without being mean. You're welcome. That's just my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now. Well, Hurricane Ian, packed with lightning and heavy winds and rain bearing down on the United States. The last images for NOAA showing this massive storm preparing to move into Florida.
Storm already causing chaos in Cuba, downed trees and power lines, tens of thousands evacuating as